Coming up on this episode of the Model 3 Owners Club Show, we have some more Model 3 information for you, some new EV news, and some other things going on. And what?
Hey, Trev, let's go for a ride.
Oh!
Well, welcome folks to this very special edition of the Model 3 Owners Club Show. My name is Kenneth Bacor.
And I'm Trevor Page, and look, we have a brand new first production Model 3, and our goal today is to take you from stem to stern on the car and answer just about every question that people may have.
And we have a lot of questions that you've sent in. There's a laundry list of that, so we want this to be a very educational and instructional video about the Model 3, about all the features and benefits that it offers.
Yeah, the owner here was very gracious to let us use the car for a couple of days to be able to answer most of these questions. But Ken and I also want to put a bit of a disclaimer on this video, because by the time you see the video when we release it, hopefully general production deliveries will have started. So if you see any features that you think might be missing, it's because the software in the car is not 100% finished yet. So we're going to go in and give you as many details as we can. Just try and keep that in mind, because you know, the car is finished from a hardware aspect, but the software is not. So with that, let's dive right in.
Let's go.
Nice ride, Ken.
It's my color too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that working for you?
It's working real well for me. Absolutely.
So here are your details of the headlights, folks. We're going to turn them on. There you go. So the top part is your daytime running light. The flicker you see is not in real life. That's just because of the frame rate on the camera. And then down here you have your turn signals. Everything is LED. Interesting detail, it appears that the LED headlights are buried up inside and they're reflecting down. Just for reference here, the distance from the ground up to the front lip is what, Ken, about 9 inches?
Yeah, about 8 inches, I guess, something like that.
Okay. And one detail that I actually remember quite distinctly here on the production car, but I also saw it on the Alpha, was these air inlets for guiding the air around the wheel wells. That's an aerodynamic feature, and I'm glad they actually kept that. So it's that's there on purpose. That's not just for looks, folks. All right, just a quick shot here. Here are the autopilot cameras, and you can see there's 3 cameras there. We believe that this is the rain sensing sensor. And everyone is asking, does the car have roof rack attachments? Well, on cursory examination, it does not appear to be the case, because if you look at a Model S with the panoramic roof, there's these little tabs that pop out and you can put your roof rack on there. But on the all-glass version of the Model S, there are none. However, on the Model 3, I don't know if you can see that, there's a little tiny arrow right there. And if we go back to the second one, lo and behold, there's a little metal tab in there. So, not confirmed, but I think that's where your roof rack is going to go. Here's a little detail on the Model 3 washers. The spray nozzle for the washer fluid comes out here. It's built into the wiper. It's not the actual wiper blade itself. It's just an attachment here on the end. So, and that's largely because the windshield wipers are actually tucked in underneath for aerodynamics here under the hood. So they don't have any exposed washer nozzles either on the underside or on the top side. On the Model S, it's on the underside of the hood, and on the Model X, they built it into the length of the wiper blade. So Who knows how much those cost, but this is a good compromise. Of course, there's been a lot of consternation on the internet as to how you actually operate the door handles on the Model 3. It could not be simpler. You approach the car, press on the fat part, and pull. It's a one-handed affair. I'll just close that. The door handle feels like metal. It could be plastic. It's hard to say. It's definitely sealed on the inside, and I would surmise it's probably not heated for winter, so we'll see how this operates in the winter time. But it's super easy. I mean, you just we've got the back windows on the Model 3 all the way down. They will not go down any further. I would say it's about 4 inches or so. But again, most cars' back windows don't always go all the way down anyway, so just wanted to show you an interesting detail here on the Model 3. You can see here that the bright work is all a single piece here, and one really long piece all the way to the front. But what's interesting is that a lot of cars will have plastic trim pieces with the chrome on top, but Tesla didn't do that. They actually wrapped it around the edges here. So if I open the door, you can see here that it's all the way through. Just a quick tour of the doors on the Model 3. All of the surfaces here and around in here, the door handles, of course, and down in here is all soft touch material. The only hard piece of plastic here is on the speaker grill, so it's got a nice high quality finish to it. There are no emergency door latch releases on the back. That's found on the front. We'll show you that in a little bit. There's a door popper here, if you can hear that. It clicks. But nice quality. Now, of course, we don't know what the basic interior is going to be like. I would surmise that it's probably cloth seats and a cloth headliner. Driver's side, you have 4 window controls, and they're instant down, instant up. Go, and all the way down. This is the normal door popper. Pressing that opens the door. By the way, when you press on it, it actually pops the door out about an inch or so. And then as a backup, there is a lever here that you can pull, and that opens the door in the same way. So you have a backup in case the door popper fails. You've got a mechanical backup. There are door pockets in here, and a little bit of a rubberized bottom, so you can put a nice big bottle in there, some trinkets, maybe some glasses inside of there. Again, once again, all of the door surfaces are all soft touch material. It feels nice. It's not plasticky by any stretch of the imagination.
Just for wondering how much storage in the door pockets, here's a rear door pockets. You've got your standard bottle of water here, so it fits in very nicely, and you can put a couple, as you can see, and it's fairly deep, so definitely maps, trinkets, juice boxes, things like that. And then in the front, it's very similar in width. This one, it's angled, so you can put your water that way. Yeah, and then it's got more room back there, so you can lie stuff down as well.
Yeah, I was saying that's a good spot to put your glasses and stuff, because there's nothing in the overhead.
Yep, great idea.
Yeah. Here on this piece as well. Not very common to find that on a car of this price. For those who might be interested in some engineering, here's some close-up shots of the door hinges. Okay, everyone is asking some details here regarding the trunk opening. As you can see here, you have the rear-facing camera, and then there is another button here on the back, and it releases a door popper, and then of course opens up the trunk of the car. And you can see here that Tesla's implemented a double hinged mechanism here and gas struts on both sides, and it's fairly clean. The opening here has a nice rubber seal all the way around the trunk opening, so no water is going to get in there, hopefully. There's some plastic cladding in here. It's not rubberized, it's just regular plastic. And the usual trunk release is found here. It's a glow-in-dark part. You can just press it like that. Okay, so we're looking at the trunk, and it's all carpeted. So this is the well. So you've got this nice car cover. You lift that up. It's removable, by the way. And you've got some storage space for different little bits and pieces here. This is the shade for the middle part of the sunroof. Definitely some space to put some stuff in there. It's good. I would definitely say it would fit medium-sized duffel bag. Would you agree?
I agree.
I agree. I concur. I concur. So all in all, it's a decent-sized trunk for what it is. It's certainly not cavernous like a Model S, but for usual day trips and stuff, I think it'll work for most people.
We put all our stuff in it. We had a lot.
Yeah, and it worked out quite well. Ken, you want to take a quick measurement of the bottom there to show everybody on camera what we're looking at?
We're looking at almost a foot, about 11 inches.
Okay, and on metric on the other side?
We can figure that out, but we'll look. It's about, let's say 29 centimeters.
29 centimeters,
yep.
Okay. And the width of the door opening, of the hood?
Max width, about 42 inches.
All right, get that on camera, 42, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or?
Yes, please, always metric.
Yes, we have a lot of European.
Here, want me to hold that?
Canadian as well, yeah. About 107 centimeters.
Okay. And what would you say? What would you say from here to here is?
Yeah.
Right, do it right in the middle, so we have it on camera.
About 19 inches.
Okay.
Slightly higher, but
yeah, a little bit
round it.
Okay. We'll flip it over.
About 49 centimeters.
49 centimeters.
Yep.
Okay, that's good. Good size.
Max.
It's hard to tell from the depth here. If we put this back in, we can close this.
Then inside the trunk width,
okay,
about 47 inches.
47 inches on the inside.
There's a wall here, and then there's a cubby hole.
Okay.
To put stuff.
And can you maybe get all the way to the back there? We'll put the seats down here in a moment, folks, and you'll be able to get an idea of how deep it really is. Lay it down flat on the ground there. Okay.
So about 41 inches or so.
Yeah, 41.5 inches.
Or metric.
And then on metric on the other side, it's about 106 centimeters.
Yeah, 105.
106 centimeters.
Yep.
It's good size. We had some of our luggage in here.
We had all of our luggage.
All of our luggage in there, and it fit very comfortably without having to put the seats down. And
the minimum area.
Okay, so which is between the wheel arches?
Yeah. 96 centimeters.
96 centimeters. Yeah, I was going to say 96 centimeters.
Yeah.
About 38 or 39 inches.
38 inches, yeah. From the ground to reach the handle, now our tape won't go up enough because it's only a 60-inch tape, but I can get an approximation from about there to the handle, so another 9, so about 69, 70 inches.
Okay. So
if you're trying to lift it back down, it's about that height.
Yeah. One thing we did notice is that the trunk takes some force to push down. So, I mean, it once you get past a certain point, it's not so bad.
Just that initial pull, and that's why it's easier to pull here.
Yeah, and there's two grab handles.
Finish it off.
Yeah. So there's a cross member here on the inside of the trunk, and we're going to measure that from there down to the floor.
About 18 inches.
18 inches there, yeah.
Or about 46 centimeters.
46 centimeters, okay. There's another interesting detail here in the back. You can see through here. This is a vent, and there's a grill here. And you can't see inside the trunk from the inside of the car, but there's a neat little vent in here. So you're all asking about LED and lighting inside the trunk. Yes, there is an LED light on the right-hand side of the car, and another one here on the left. And then down here in the bottom, there is a small cubby, little hole down in here. Not as big as the S or the X, of course. Actually, on the S, not the X, I should say. You could probably put the UMC in there if it was folded up. And there's nothing, of course, on this side. I'm going to assume that's probably where the subwoofer is. But we're not about to take the car apart to look at that. You just pull on the latch, and the seat folds right down.
Yep.
And as you can see here, that it folds fairly flat. It folds fairly flat. It looks like it's raised a little bit. Let me just grab the camera. Can you hold on to it, Ken? I've got it.
Okay.
Uh-oh, not reaching.
Let's see. Well, we can get right here is about it.
Okay.
So you can add.
So we're at 60 inches at this point, so that's 5 feet.
Yeah, so it's a little more defined.
So I would say probably about another 6 inches between there and the back.
Yep.
And metric, can you flip that over? Just so we don't have to do the conversion.
Yeah.
For all of our fine folks, 150 centimeters. There you go, plus another probably 20 or so between here and there. Rough estimate, folks.
All right, folks, everybody asks how many bodies you can fit in this thing, so Trevor's going to be our guinea pig and watch him climb in. Watch your back now, buddy. We've got the seats all the way down. How tall are you, Trev?
5'10".
5'10". So your heels are touching the back. Is your head touching the back seat? Barely, right?
It is now, but again, we haven't pushed the seat forward at all, so
Right.
we don't know how far we're about to go.
It's still fairly back, though.
You could camp in here. You could put a thin mattress. You could probably camp, and I mean, I could look at the stars. That's quite nice.
So there you go.
Nothing wrong with that.
So you can definitely get 2 people of average size, I would say,
Oh yeah.
as far as that goes, from a height. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Better
the
be dating them.
Yeah. And the seats do go forward more, so you can get somebody taller, probably 6 foot anyway.
I can't reach the controls from here, but maybe. No, they're too far.
It's okay, yeah.
But yeah, you could easily fit 2 people in here if you really had to.
So there you go, folks. You can definitely do that.
All right, so Ken's going to give you a quick tour of the front trunk on the Model 3.
So it's already been unlocked, so all you do is just lift up, and it's very nice and easy.
It's very light.
Very light, yeah.
Held up with gas shocks.
Gas
And
shocks
there is
take
a
all the
rubber
weight.
seal all the way around, and everything is plastic covered. And it's nice to see they actually put the windshield wiper filler in the right place, because on the Model S it's way back in here. On Model X it's over here, so that's nice.
Very easy to get to.
And there are some grocery hooks in here. I think you lift on them. I haven't quite. Oh, there you go. They just flip. Did you see that?
Gotcha.
So all they do is just click out one detent, so it gives you a little space to hook some bags on. That's a nice feature. I hope they put that in the S and the X.
So we'll give you an approximate size as far as what you can carry. Definitely you can carry a small carry-on handbag, duffel bag, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But we'll give you a measurement on it. So from a max width, we're at about, I would say 34 and a half inches from a max width. And from this way, about 18 inches.
Okay.
From
And
that,
the height
and
of the
then
back?
Height at the back. And we can, you guys can convert that to metric if you need to. It's pretty easy. So almost 10 inches.
10 inches to this lip,
To that
but you
lip.
have a little bit of room here. It is tapered, though. It is tapered.
It is tapered, yeah. So
Okay,
it'll be a little,
and at the front?
a little bit less on here. It's about 8 inches, I'd say.
Okay. And it is carpeted on the bottom.
And there is your tow hook here.
Oh yeah, look at that. There's the tow hook.
They put that nice.
Of course, and everybody's asking, what's that cap on the front on the Model 3? That is your tow hook. And if you push on it, it should pop out, and then you just screw in that bar. I'm just not going to do that right now. So there is a light here in the front, and if you press on it, it activates the door popper. So if, I don't know who would be caught in here, only a really small child would actually fit in here, not an adult, but at least you can open it. It is carpeted. It just kind of lifts out like that. There are no drains that I can see, so make sure you don't get any water, like no beer coolers or anything like that in here. Just for reference, a full-size carry-on would fit in there just beautifully. So either that or a duffel bag, but we're positive that a regular airline carry-on would fit perfectly in the front.
Yeah, it also, Trev, fits a nice Model 3 Owners Club card.
Oh, I like that. So same deal with closing this, gentle. Just like that. And I heard the door popper click.
All right, folks, so everybody's asking, how do you put the front plate holder on the Model 3 for those states and provinces and parts of the world that need it? Well, we'll show you. You get this as part of your kit. It's a plasticized front plate holder. It's got double-sided 3M tape on it that you take off, and then you mount to the bumper, and I'll show you. It's got 4 holes to put your license plate screws in. So once you get your plate, you mount it to those 4 holes. But simply peel off the 3M tape, and obviously we're going to have a nice clean bumper, not one that's got some bugs on it today, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And then you just mount it in the middle like this somewhere, and hold it for 30 seconds or a minute, and then it should stay on.
Just quick details here on the charge port. You can open it from the main screen on the car. You can open it from the app on the phone, but just even a light little touch on the bottom just opens it. And then you have an indicator light. Now it does not glow like the Model S or the Model X does, but you have an indicator light here. It's blue, as the other ones do. Plug it in, it glows green. or yellow, depending on the situation. I'm told if you unplug it and you walk away, the charge port closes automatically after about 5 seconds or so. But you can also close it just by giving a little light touch, and she just closes just by herself like that. All right, so everybody's asking about how do you take these covers off on the 19-inch sport wheel, and it's really easy. This is slightly rubberized, as you can tell. So you just reach in behind there and just give her a little tug, and she just pops right off. Looks like that on the back. See, it's just a spring-loaded clip thing that fits in the middle hole. And I have a handy-dandy tire or lug gauge. Press the screen on the focus on the numbers. That's good. And you press the camera icon in the lower left-hand corner. Second one in. Yeah. Now it's kind of hard to show you the underside of the car, but we're under the bumper here, and there is no panel anywhere for a hitch. Now please remember, folks, this is a first production car. It does not mean that the feature will never show up. It just means that they just haven't gotten around to it. There will be more features added in the future. Interesting note though is, as usual, the bottom of the car is completely flat. There's the battery pack, as you can see out front. But literally every space on the car that would normally be open has got some kind of body panel or cladding to keep dirt and debris out. So it's nice to see that.
So people are asking about the jacking points on the Model 3. So they are underneath. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's kind of like a triangle piece of metal here with a hole. And that's really where you'll put your jack and jack up the car at these points. And there's 4 of them along the bottom.
Ken's going to get into the car and show you how easy it is. Just hop right in.
And the seat's pretty well almost all the way back, so I've still got a nice amount of leg room, as you can see here. And seatbelt's easy to put on and find all the holders for it. No lack of space here.
And how would you say your headroom is?
I've got more than a fist, more than a hand, going up to before the roof, and I'm not that tall. I'm 5'7", so. Yeah. I've heard though that there's been 6'2" people in the back, yeah, and they've been able to fit. So.
Yeah. Okay, here's the height of the seat in the back. It looks to be about 10 inches or so off the floor.
Okay folks, so I'll do a little tour of the back seat for you because we get a lot of requests on that. So as you can see, it's very comfortable. This, as Trevor mentioned, is the premium package of the car. It's got 3 seat belts here for 3 people. Again, the middle would be a little squishy. Very comfortable material, nice and cool actually in the heat, believe it or not. Everybody asks about the center armrest. So here's a center armrest. It comes down, very comfortable. It's got rubberized inserts on here with little bulges, so to keep your stuff intact, water bottles and such like that, coffee cups, all the important things that you need. Also, one thing that we found on this is the center headrest goes up a little bit. So you push up and it goes just up 1 click. So you can raise it when you do have somebody sitting in there for safety. And then when you want to lower it, just like most normal cars, just push the button in and push it down and off you go. All the child safety latches that we've seen pictures and videos on as well. But overall, very comfortable and pleasant experience in the back seat.
So in the rear of the car, in the trunk lid area, you have 3 latches for child seats. So you just lift up the little plastic cover, and you've got your clip for the seat clip to hold on to at the back. Yeah, and the back seats have child latch points. There's one there and one there, and they're just kind of hidden. If you just push up a little bit, you'll see there's the metal loop to click your child seats into. Both the driver and passenger rear back of the seats have little mat pockets, so you can put some stuff in there. It's fairly deep. I think it's about 9 inches deep or so, but it's a nice little addition. Something that's not present on the S or the X, that's for sure.
People are asking about the rear vents for the passengers in the back. So as you can see, they are fully adjustable, 50-50, left and right and up and down from a vent perspective. Then you have your 2 USB charging plugs.
Yes, and turning on the AC vents in the back is done from the main touchscreen on the car. There's no buttons down in here to enable it, so you have to ask the driver to turn it on. Okay, people wanted to hear what the horn sounds like, so that's what the horn sounds like. Nice little touch here on the door sills on the front. You've got this nice aluminum trim in here. Sorry about the glare, it says Model 3. Quick shot of the premium interior, which has 12-way power adjustable seats, so you can push them forward, push them back, tilt it up, tilt it down, back and forth. And then of course you have some lumbar support. Yeah, and down, and then up.
And how far back does it recline?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, people want to know that, won't they? All right, here we go, reclining.
So the answer is till it hits the seat. So till it hits the seat.
Till it hits the seat.
There's your answer. So yeah, you want to
Awesome.
see a drive-in? No problem.
Now, one of the common questions, of course, as revealed by none other than yours truly some time ago, is there an ODB port on the Model 3? And we're looking at the driver's side, and there is no evidence of anything. As a matter of fact, both on the driver and the passenger side, there's cladding underneath here, and it goes right to the firewall at the back. So there's nothing exposed inside here. So there's one of the lights, of course, for the footwells on the premium package. This is the premium interior on the Model 3. We don't know what the base interior is going to be like, but here's the center console. Again, the surfaces are all soft touch. It's really well done. And there are two cubby storage spaces. Just pressing lightly reveals that one. You have lots of room here for your storage space. And then the front one lifts up, if you just press on it, and it reveals the two charging spots for phones. It does lift, so you can get access to the USB ports that are found on the Model 3. These are short little cables. You can buy them from Tesla, and they're interchangeable, so you can put Lightning, you can use USB-C, USB micro, and then you just fish them. If you just take this rubber mat, you can see here where it's fished in. Put that back. So if you leave this cubby open, you can just take your phone and just drop it on like that. And this cubby's up and out of the way, and you never really have to look at it unless you want to close it. Of course, if you go somewhere, you can just close it like that, and it conceals your phone. Really nice little touch. Of course, you don't want to really leave your phone in the car because it is your primary key to get in. So there's that. Close that. It takes a light touch, by the way. It seems to be magnetized. That's what holds it in there. Okay, and then over here we have two cup holders. There is a sensor in this area here, which is for the key cards. So if you lose your phone, or you don't have your phone with you, you can bring those little key cards. You just put it in this general area after you get in the car, and that activates the system. And then over here, there is more storage. Look at that. So it's all flocked. There is a 12-volt adapter right there, so you can get power. And it doesn't feel like there's anything else in here. There's no USB or anything. So there's a 12-volt outlet there. So that's a tour of the center console. At least they put the cup holders in the right place. There's a fair amount of storage in here. Not enough to put a laptop or anything, but at least you've got storage for glasses and you know, your little trinkets. But I think the best feature is the hidden phone compartment, blind holster two phones. I like that. Again, this is an iteration of what they did on the Model S and the Model X when they put the center console in. You can put one phone, but now we can do two. A1 in my books. This is the soft touch material here on the dash, and you can literally squish it. It's nice and squishy. This is hard plastic. This is a very thin wood veneer over plastic. I had a look at that yesterday. Here in the corners, if you photograph it from this end, there's a slight cut where they folded the veneer over the edges. And over by the driver's side, where the steering column comes out, if you look underneath, there's an exposed part, and you can see there's a very thin wood veneer underneath. So that probably bodes well for replacement or some other cover, whatever, maybe carbon fiber or something. So good thing is you don't have to remove the dash or take it apart to possibly take the veneer off if you don't like the wood. Now the other question people are asking, does the wood trim cause any glare on the windshield? And I'm happy to report there's absolutely none. There is nothing. There's no reflections at all. And that's one of the primary reasons they did most of the dash in black, so because it keeps the reflections down. A little detail here on the front of the dash, there is a mesh grille that runs from one side to the other. That's where the speakers are. There are speakers in the A-pillars on either side. We think these are tweeters here in the upper part of the A-pillar. There is also speakers in the bottom of the doors, and we believe the subwoofer is in the back of the car. Now, some of you are asking about toll transponders, where to put them. You know, the autopilot camera here, the housing is not very big, so I'm sure you could probably put something in either corner. Dash cams would fit quite nice underneath here. And just in case you ask, there is the little tiny forward-facing camera for the new autopilot system. It is not active yet, so don't worry, nobody is spying on you. So operating the dome lights is a simple matter of just pressing the dome light that you want. And then the hazard lights for the four-ways are up here. For those asking you about dash cam installation, this would be the primary place you would probably pull power, because there's 12 volts going into this device. We haven't pulled it out, but I'm sure you can get a spudger in there and just pop that off. And there's probably a single connector you can tap into for power. Sun visors, you can pull them down. They're slightly curved, so it fits the curvature of the cross member on the car. And unlike the Model S, you have vanity mirrors and lights. And these little flaps are held on with magnets. You can see it just pulls down, goes into place. Now the mirrors do come off, and they go all the way over to the side, and they do extend. So, by and large, normal mirrors, just like you find on every other car. Okay, we're going to show you the seat belts. They are adjustable up and down. Just press. We devised a really neat little idea here. We're going to try and test out the HVAC system and show you how the slit actually works. So I apologize for the sound, but it's the only way to do this. So what we're going to do is we're just going to turn on the HVAC system. Get her up to about 10 or 11. And you can see the streamers here. And then we can move. And you can see the streamers moving up or down. Now the left or right is not quite so obvious. But you can definitely see the up and down. And once again, how the system works is you have airflow coming out of this slit in this direction, and then in here you can see these little louvers, not louvers, but little airlets, and there's another airstream flowing out of there. And the way that works is that this one regulates the air deflection of the top slit. So by varying the amount of air that comes out of here, they can push this up and down. The side-to-side movement, on the other hand, is controlled via louvers, and they're deep inside. You don't see them. They're actually well deep inside the dash. But very ingenious system, keeps everything out of control, out of the way. So yeah, it's pretty neat. All right, so you'll see here on the left-hand side of the Model 3, the first third of the screen is for controls for the car. We happen to be in park right now, so everybody's asking, how do you open the trunk, the front trunk, and the charge port? Well, it's just as simple as tapping the open button, and the trunk just opened. And the animation actually just showed that the trunk just opened ever so slightly, and they put an orange surround on the trunk being open, so you have a visual indicator that your trunk is actually open. Same thing happens on the front. It just popped, I saw it move, and it shows the front is open with a slight orange-red color showing you that it's actually open. And then same thing for the charge port. If I tap that, it brings up the interface here showing that you have your different set limits. By the way, notice that the charge amp limit goes to 48 amps. So that answers another question for people that want to do a higher amperage charge than what the UMC provides. The Model 3, even on the long-range battery pack, will do 48 amps, just like the standard Model S at 75 kilowatt-hour battery pack. The higher amperage is only available if you choose, say, a 100 kilowatt-hour battery pack on the Model S, at which point they include a 72 amp charger. But on the Model 3, 48 amp is the maximum you're going to get. Now on the charge port, if I want, I can also close it. Just press that button. That closes the charge port in the back, and it closes your charging interface. There's another way to bring up the charge interface here on the main screen. If you just press the lightning bolt icon, you get your charging interface, at which point you can open the charge port door either from that screen or this side. You can also set your charge limit. So by moving your arrows up and down, you can set what your daily trip is. It won't go below 50%, by the way, but you can set your daily limit to 60, 70, 80, and 90%. And if you want a really long range trip, you can go to 100%, but most people usually set it at about 90%. Tap done. Now on this screen, you can also set your scheduled charging, so you can either slide it on and off, and you can also set a time that you want the car to start charging to take advantage of lower energy rates. Okay, a little tour of the icons along the bottom is very similar to a Model S or a Model X. They've moved some things around a little bit, but here on the left brings up your vehicle controls. We'll cover that here in a second. The second one is for your windshield, so tap it once, you get cool air blowing on it. Tap it again, and you get hot air blowing through it. Sorry about the noise, I'm just going to let that calm down before we move on. The next icon is your rear window defroster. Tap that once, you get heat. Driver's side heated seat, so it's 3 levels. First tap turns it on full. I can already feel it, it's very quick. Second tap, third tap, and then finally off. In the center of the screen, we have 3 icons, and this is where you're going to control your HVAC. So you have a driver's side temperature. There's a passenger side temperature. And what it does is also brings up this interface called sync temperature. By taking that off, now you have independent control from passenger and driver. Tapping the auto button in the middle brings up the user interface for setting your different functions on the HVAC. These 2 interfaces, left and right, control the driver side and the passenger side vents, and just by moving the pill around, it starts moving the louvers inside the slit. Tapping this button brings up the diffuser, so you can diffuse it so it's a gentler breeze coming out of it rather than more directed air. Same thing happens on the passenger side. Now in the middle, you have your auto control, so by turning that off, now you reveal more icons in here, so you can set like your manual fan speed. I'm not going to do that because it gets loud on camera. And then here on the left hand side, you have more controls, so on the you can turn on your airflow, whether you want it down on the floor, more in your face, or in the windshield area. This is the climate control, so pressing that turns the air conditioning pump on or off. The icon here is for recirculation, so if you got some smells outside and you just want to clean up the air a little bit, you can do that. It's not a bioweapon defense mode. There's no filter for that in this car, but at least you get recirc like most cars do. And lastly, the icon on the bottom right is to control the vents for the passengers through the center console. Turning that on allows the air to flow into the passenger cabin area. It should be mentioned though that because the software is still in flux on the car, that there's no interface at this point to turn on the heated rear seats. But like I said, it hasn't been implemented in the software, so there's nowhere to control that yet. We suspect it'll be somewhere in the settings eventually. Maybe they'll change an icon, you'll tap on it, and it'll bring up more of an interface like you see on the Model S or the Model X, where you can independently control the heated seats components throughout the car. By the way, in case you asked, there is no heated steering wheel in the Model 3 Premium Upgrade package. Not to say that they won't add it in the future, because Tesla does play with packages in the future as they go, but for now, there's no heated steering wheel in the Model 3. Now, there's no evidence of a web browser on the Model 3. There's no icons or anything. It could be that the software is still in flux. Again, Tesla's been promising some kind of update on the web browser on the Model S or the Model X. Not to say that they can't add it later on, but for now, there is none. Moving along, the next icon brings up the media interface. Tapping it once brings up this very shortened area here where you can see the currently playing song. You can increase the volume over here. Of course, we don't want any YouTube problems right now, so we're not going to actually play any music or anything in the car, but trust us, it sounds really good. You can either like or dislike, and I think that probably affects what streams next, of course, because most of the entertainment system of the car is through streaming media, of course. We'll cover Bluetooth here in a few minutes. The last icon over on the right brings up a slightly larger interface, and then a third tap brings up the whole interface where you can kind of scroll through and you can look at different channels. Now along the interface here in the top, you have streaming, you have tune in, and if you were to plug in a USB port, you'll have a USB button here where you can actually navigate, similar to what this is, so you can see your different folders and stuff. Now at this time in the Model 3, there is no AM, FM, or XM radio. It just hasn't been implemented into the software yet. Now my understanding is that they may not even do AM because it's not present on the Model X. You have to stream those, but it's not the end of the world. I happen to have a USB key here, so let's give it a go and see if I can plug it in. I'm just going to use the phone's interface here. I'm just going to take out one of the USB ports and I'll just plug that in. And the USB interface came up. So if I just tap on that, it's indexing. So now I can look at artists or genres, albums, songs. So I can go to albums, and all my album art came up. I literally copied these songs off of my iTunes software on my computer and just threw it on a USB key, and everything came up, including all the album art. So we're going to do a little test here. We're actually going to plug the USB key into one of the USB ports in the rear center console and see if it changes anything on the interface. We don't think it will work, but let's give it a go. Go ahead, Ken.
Okay.
And nothing. So the USB ports confirmed, they're just for charging your devices. We're just testing the other USB port. Again, nothing. So it looks like you really have to plug your USB key into one of the two USB ports in the front center console in order for your music to come up on the interface. So I hope that answers that question. The next icon along the bottom brings up your phone interface. So you can pick recents, your contacts, or your dialer. Of course, I'm not going to show some of this interface stuff on account for privacy for the owner. Connecting your phone to the interface is super easy. You just tap the Bluetooth icon on the menu at the top, add a new device, start search, and I can bring up Bluetooth on my phone, and it says Tesla Model 3, so I can tap that and connect the device and confirm that the numbers match, hit pair, and then your phone is now synced, and at that point you can pick whether you want your contacts synced or not. So it's that simple to add a phone. Some of the other icons along the top, you have door lock and unlock, so clicking that now locks the car. The two mirrors just folded in, the doors are now locked. Tapping that now unlocks the rest of the vehicle. The next icon is for home link. Tapping that brings up your home link settings. It is location aware, so when you get close to your home, the home link automatically drops down, and depending on your settings, it'll actually open the garage door or whatever gate that you may have that's home link enabled. Next icon is the traditional Tesla logo. Tapping that brings up the user interface to see your car. It says long range. There's no mention of the battery pack. We kind of knew that. It shows you 2 Easter eggs at this point. You can also name your vehicle. And then you have your software version and your current range. This is no different than a Model S or a Model X. Right hand side of the screen, 2/3 is that the map takes up most of the screen at any given time. Everything else is an overlay. So tapping on the screen allows you to pull up a variety of different buttons. Now, on account of privacy, I'm not going to show you exactly where we are on here, but tapping this icon brings up the local chargers, including the superchargers. Tapping this button brings up some more settings, so you have things like your trip planner, your on-route routing, traffic, and satellite. So it's pretty quick. I will show you a little something, though, that the speed of this interface, it's nice. It's quite fluid. Now on the map screen, you can tap navigate and it brings up your recents, but you can also tap an address, and because on the account of the wider screen, now we have a number pad over on the right hand side, so it's a little bit less. On the Model S, of course, because it's more vertical, they had to put the numbers along the top, so it's just a slight change on account of the orientation of the screen. Okay, now we're going to actually get into the actual car settings. So tapping the car icon here on the left brings up your different interfaces, and it's really split where you have settings in the middle, and on the right hand side you have your different tabs, so you can go through the different aspects. So if we start on the service one, just for fun, to service the wiper blades, because the wiper blades are actually built low and actually under the hood, in order to pull them up you need to put it into service mode. So tapping that brings the windshield wipers up so you can pull them and change your blades. There's a button here for adjusting the headlights. I'm not really going to get into that, but if I was to do that, you can use the scroll wheels. Again, this is kind of an interesting function on the Model 3 because the scroll wheels on the steering wheel, unlike the Model S and the Model X, are not really tied to anything. They're contextual. which means they can be reprogrammed to do different things depending where you are in the interface. The scroll wheels on the steering wheel control things like your mirrors, your steering wheel position, and your telescoping, and in this case for adjusting the headlights. So that's kind of a neat little function that they do there. Now, of course, we expect those scroll wheels to be expanded in function as things go in the future, maybe to do more things for things like autopilot and cruise control. There's also towing mode, so turning that on allows you to tow the car. You have to put it in neutral and the usual things. Under quick controls, you have your display brightness. Of course, you can do this. And you can turn on your exterior lights, whether you want the front fog lights to be on or off. Then down in here, you can bring up the mirrors control or the steering wheel. Again, if you tap mirrors, you get the user interface where you can control your mirrors through the scroll wheels on the steering wheel, left and right, up and down, both passenger and driver side. And from this interface, you can also pick whether you want the mirror auto tilt, and what that does is it tilts the mirrors down when you put the car into reverse, or if you want the mirrors to auto fold when you put the car in park or you lock the doors. Tapping on the steering wheel control brings up the user interface where you can control the steering wheel position and telescoping using nothing but the scroll wheels. So if I scroll the wheel up and down, like that, you can see it moving, and I can adjust the telescoping in and out on the right scroll wheel. And when you do that, of course, it alters your driver profile. I'm going to restore mine, so it brings it back to where I like it. Last button on the bottom allows you to manually fold the mirrors. You can't see it on camera, but the mirrors just folded, and then I can unfold them at will. So on the right-hand part of the screen at the bottom, you have your button for the glove box. Tapping that opens the glove box. It's a nice soft open. So the next tab, if we go in, we get to look at the light situation. So we can control the headlights, of course, whether you want your fog lights on or off. You can control your dome lights, so I can actually tap on and all the dome lights come on inside the car, or you can set it to auto. Of course, I can manually turn on the dome lights just by pressing the actual dome light itself. And the last button on the bottom controls whether your ambient lighting is turned on or off. And of course, we're during the day, so I can't really show it to you, but there's only one setting. It's either on or off, and that's on account of this car having the premium upgrades package, which includes ambient lighting as part of the deal. Next tab is for locks. And in here you have 4 different settings: walk up to unlock, walk away lock, child protection lock, and unlock on park. All of these settings are just user selectable, and they're also stored as part of your driver profile in the car. Now on the lights tab, there's also a gear icon, and it's you have to watch out for these because sometimes on the tabs you'll have that or not. It reveals yet another setting, and in this case, headlights after exit and the steering wheel lights. All right, the next tab is display. And it brings up a variety of different settings, whether you want your display mode either night or day. The auto is a light sensor, so it automatically flips the screen into day or night mode. If I want, I can put it into night mode and the screen turns to that usual black. A lot of people like that function. I'll just set it back to auto, and of course it's going to bring the brightness back up to where it thinks works. Boom. The next button is screen clean mode. Tapping that allows you to clean the screen without activating anything by mistake. And then you have to press and hold to exit. You may not be able to see this on the screen too well, but you have to press and hold. 3, 2, 1, boom, then you're back. The next one is your units and formats. You have miles or kilometers. Switching that over just changes your screen depending on where you are. And then same thing with your temperature, Fahrenheit or Celsius. And again, like I mentioned before, there's a gear icon. You got to watch for that, and it brings up some more settings. In this case here, you have auto brightness, your time format, and your energy display, whether you want energy or distance. I should also mention that on the Model 3 there is no energy usage graph at this point. Now, we don't know whether it's going to be added in software or not. I hope they do, because it's a very useful graph to have when you're going on distance traveling, to be able to see how much energy you're using at any given time and how much is remaining when you get to your destination. All right, the next tab is for driving. Tapping on that brings up your driving preferences. So you have a steering mode, you have comfort, standard, and sport. We were testing this. It tightens up the steering wheel as far as the control. You have your regenerative braking, whether standard or low, traction control, and then your creep. Now, for those of you who don't know what creep is, that's more like like an automatic transmission where you let off the brake and the car starts rolling by itself. Some people like it, some people don't. Again, it's just a simple setting. You can just turn it on or off depending on how you feel about that. As far as regenerative braking is concerned, some people report that the standard on the Model 3 feels a little less aggressive than the Model S. So depending on how you feel about that, you can just set it whichever way you like. All right, the last tab that we're going to review here is safety and security. Tapping that brings up some information here as far as your parking brake and to power off the vehicle. This tab also has a gear, so tapping on that brings up some more information. So the park assist chimes, your security alarm, and then your privacy to allow mobile access. All right, two more icons. First one here, tapping this brings up the rear view camera. A little more of a fisheye on this one than I'm used to. Of course, if you put the car in reverse, I'll do that right now, and you get your line. So if I turn the steering wheel, it's just like anything else. The car's complaining, of course, because our trunk is still open. Now you'll notice here that there's no way to move this around, because on the Model 3, being a horizontal screen, there's no two screens simultaneously. So you can't have, say, the maps running at the same time as well as the rear view camera. So you can close the interface there, or you can just tap that icon again, so you can toggle between the two. And the last one here is the voice control, but it's not working right now because it hasn't been implemented again. But by the time the car goes into general public for deliveries, a lot of the stuff that you think that may be missing or whatever should be implemented by then. The other common question that people are asking at this point is, what is autopilot like on the Model 3? Well, autopilot is not active yet on the car. It hasn't been quite finished. We've been driving the car, and we can see the lines, and we can see the cars, we can see the curbs, the sensors. Everything is working as far as the sensors, but you cannot activate autopilot at this point yet. They're still working on the software for the Model 3, so that would account for autopilot not being ready yet. But it does have cruise control, and the cruise control works really well. When we go for a drive, we'll be able to show you that in more detail and how that works. And again, because autopilot is not active yet on the Model 3, we can't do things like summon, so we'll just have to wait for that for a future episode. Well, folks, as luck would have it, it just started to rain, so what a better opportunity to show you how the windshield wipers actually work. Because there's been a lot of conjecture on the internet about people trying to figure out how they actually work. Does the rain sensing work? Do you have intermittent? So we're going to answer it for you right now. So here on the main interface on the left-hand part of the screen, you can swipe to the right and it brings up the windshield wiper controls. But there's another way to do that. If you're actually driving, on the left-hand side where the stalk is, you can just press it once and you get a single swipe, and lo and behold, it actually brings up the windshield wiper interface on the screen, at which point you can actually turn it on and you get two speeds. You get slow and fast, and you also have intermittent. So pressing this button brings up the intermittent, and of course you have slow and fast on the intermittent as well. And if you need to turn on the windshield wiper fluid, you press the end of the stalk, press and hold the button in. You get a shot. 3 swipes. And 1 more for safety. That's how the system works. Very easy. It actually does work. Now, rain sensing wipers will come later on in a software update. So right now, at least the windshield wipers work. You do get intermittent and speed selectable. So it's not that big of a deal. They've actually thought it through. The other question that we get all the time is the screen glare a problem? And the answer is absolutely not. We were driving it during the day and in the late evening and at night, and it was not a problem. I don't know if it's a coating on the screen or the angle, but there were no reflections. It didn't hurt your eye. By the way, while we're on the subject, this is a very solid screen. Like, it is not moving. It's really solid and tight on there. It does not twist, it doesn't rotate, it doesn't angle, it's fixed in place. So there's your answer as far as the screen is concerned. Quick overview of the operation of the left-hand stalk. Pushing in on the button activates the windshield wipers, pressing in activates the windshield wiper fluid, and then you have up and down. That turns your blinkers on and off. To cancel, single click up. Pressing forward turns on your high beams. Pressing it again turns off your high beams. And if you pull back on the stalk, you can give somebody a flash. Overview of the right-hand stalk. As you can see here, pushing in puts the car into park. Pushing it up all the way is reverse. Then you have neutral, drive. And the last icon is cruise control / autopilot. Doing a double tap like that activates your cruise control or your autopilot. Okay, so the car is locked, and all we have to do is just have the phone with the app on it. It's already synced to the car. You can just keep it in your pocket. You don't need to have it out. So we'll just approach the car until the doors unlock. And there you go. All right, we're going to show you how the key card works. You just approach the vehicle. When you tap right there, and the door is just unlocked. Get into the car. Place the key card here. You press the brake, and the car turns on, just like that. I can also start the air conditioning in the car. Just press that. And set the climate control to whatever temperature I like. Get it down low, 68. Or I can just turn it off. And I can go into controls, and I can honk the horn like that. I can open the trunk just like that. Flash the lights. I can open the front trunk. And you can see here the animations show you that everything is open. Lock the doors.
Folks are asking about the optional sunshade protector that you can get for the Model 3. Well, we have one here. Comes in a nice little Tesla bag. Pull it out. It's got some clips as well, but once you pull it out, it just kind of springs into action. Opens up like this. See, it's a good size, and then you install some clips inside the car and mount this on to give you extra protection from the sun. A couple other questions that we get as well. Does the trunk or front include a 12-volt outlet? The answer is no, we couldn't find any, so there are no 12-volt outlets in those locations. One other question is about maintenance plans and schedules as provided. Right now, there isn't anything that's been given to the owners from a maintenance plan schedule. They're still working that out, but we are guessing it's going to be very similar to what you're seeing on the Model S and the X today, as far as at least a yearly checkup perspective. Probably include some sort of tire rotation and brake inspection in your usual inspections that you'll get at that. But that and user manuals will be coming down the pipe very soon for owners.
All right, so what we have here is the UMC that comes with a Model S and a Model X, and on this side is the UMC, the new one that comes with the Model 3. So those of you who might be familiar, there's the round bag. Put that down here. And this is the traditional UMC. This is the part that, of course, goes in the car. And then you have this little brick. And the thing that's interesting about the Model S and the Model X is that you have these interchangeable little adapters. So there's one for your 110, and that clicks on the end. Press the button, and it comes off. And then you have your NEMA 1450, which looks like this, and that clicks onto the end like that. Okay, so you got that? Now, the difference now with the UMC and the Model 3 is slightly different. So in the Model 3, what they've done is that instead of using those little adapter plugs, they've got these little pigtails. So there's your 110, and then this end here goes into the brick for the UMC. So there's a NEMA 1450, and you've got this new little end here, and that goes into the brick like that. If I can get that, it goes into the brick like that. So this piece just kind of clicks in like that. Same size brick as the other, and then of course this end goes into your car. They still retain the button here to open the charge port on the car. And of course they do include the J1772 adapter for public chargers level 2. So nothing's really changed as far as the look. The only part that's really changed for some reason is the pigtails on the UMC. And the other difference too, of course, is the Model 3's UMC is only capable of 32 amp, whereas the Model S one will do 40. So that's the other main difference between the two. But you can still use the UMC from the Model S on the Model 3 because the onboard charger is capable up to 48 amps. All right, we're going for a drive. Let's test it out. So I've decided to turn on my intermittent wipers. The fact that the screen is over here and not right there gives you a really good view out of the front of the car, and out of my peripheral vision I can see that we're doing 40-41 miles per hour, so it's not like I have to deliberately turn my head to see. It's just a quick glance and you know where you're at. Cruise control is a double tap or single tap. The user interface for cruise control shows you down here that there's a circle around the side, the speed that you've chosen, and at least for the time being you can adjust that just by pressing plus or minus right here. There's no reason why Tesla couldn't move that to, say, one of the scroll wheels eventually, but for now it's on the screen. Speed limit here is 55, so we've got some good margin.
One thing I wanted to point out as well is that the closeness of the screen to the driver is very nice. So it's not that distracting when you do have to do something on the screen to apply a function. It's very close, it's a very easy reach. It's not like you have to actually move far out of your seat to activate or deactivate anything.
Yeah, it's literally like right there. It's not like way down here. It's like just arm's length. So ergonomics wise, this works.
And it's very quiet, so it may be hard to tell in the video, but when we're doing a good speed, just the tire noise from the road, that's it. Very quiet. Fit and finish, and no squeaks and rattles that we're hearing. Fit and finish is very nice, very clean.
So even though autopilot cannot be activated on the car, I don't know if you can see it here on the video, but you do get the line markings. It does read the line markings. It has seen the cars around us. The sensors are working. Whenever we were close to something, you'd get surrounds on the sensors. So at least at that part, I don't know if it's in learning mode or what's going on, but at least this part, the visualization portion, is actually working on the system.
And we're getting to some areas of sun as well, mixed with the cloud and rain, and as you can see, we're not getting very much light on the tops of our heads from that direct sunlight, just showing how well tinted this the roof, the all-glass roof is. Tesla has told us that it's a 99.9% UV blockage, so if you're concerned about that, don't need to be. They've taken care of that in the tint. So hopefully it comes across, but the visibility from the Model 3 is just phenomenal. You've got great visibility from the front. And again, as Trevor mentioned, from that low arcing front hood line and the seating position, we've got great visibility all the way around, even including blind spots. The pillars, the C-pillars in the back are very minimal from a blockage in a view perspective.
Yeah, the very low dash makes it really good to see out the front. I can't believe how nice this is.
So with the multiple seat positions, almost infinite that you could get through the power controls on the premium package, factoring the low sloping hood and the low dash, the Model 3 will fit a large variety of people, sizes, and needs requirements for driving.
Let me tell you folks, you're really going to enjoy driving this car. It's very comfortable. The seats are really nice. The seating position is great. The visibility is fun, and it's very nimble. I mean, even though it's physically not that much smaller than a Model S, it feels very, very nimble.
All right, folks, so I've taken over driving just for a little bit, and my impression is very similar to Trevor's, if not exact. It's a really nimble, agile, fun car to drive. You guys are going to have a smile on your face all the time. Quick up to speed. The regenerative braking, you have settings so you can change how you like it from your perspectives. As we mentioned, everything's within really easy reach of the driver. As Trevor mentioned, I agree, seeing how fast you're going, it's just right in your peripheral vision. It's nice and easy to see, and all the controls are within. And I'm a little shorter than Trev, so everything's even easier for me to reach from that. As he mentioned, the visibility is just great in this car. And that's all I got to say about that.
That's all it got to say about that.
Yeah, exactly.
On the interface here, there's a very thin gray line. And depending on how you drive, the line will either go green in the negative, that's regenerative, or, see, there's regenerative, you can see it going green. But if he steps on it, it shows your energy usage in black. I would rather that be red rather than black, but...
Yeah. Easier to see.
It's a very small little indicator to show you where you are in your graph. 266 miles. Let's tap on kilometers. That's 428 kilometers of range at the current.
Nice.
I love that.
I love that. That's a big deal. That is a big deal.
That's a big deal. That's a game changer right there.
That is the game changer. You hit the nail on the head, Trev. Tight turning circle. Tight turning circle.
Oh, that's nice compared to
easy.
Yeah, that's nice.
See, you can go at a nice smooth start, Trev. You don't have to rock it away.
No.
You're going to go through tires, man.
I'm going to go through tires.
You better have an account with Tire Rack.
Yeah.
That's what all I have to say about that.
The center console here is finished in a piano black, so you'll have to clean it once in a while because I can see quite a bit of fingerprints on it. But nothing a microfiber cloth can't fix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're adjusting your mirrors now, using your little things.
Yep.
And when you're ready, just tap done at the bottom on the screen, and then you can do your steering wheel. But he's adjusting his seat.
Yes. And then this one's for the steering wheel in out, right?
No, you got to tap done here.
Okay.
And then tap on the right steering wheel, and now your steering wheel controls.
That one?
Yeah, go ahead. Up and down.
Oh, I see. Oh, you just...
And then the left side controls the up and down.
I got you. Wow. Yeah. I got you. Just roll it. Straight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to chooch through that little intersection. Give her, Ken. Give her. Oh! Yeah, she moves.
Yeah.
It feels like definitely feels the same speed as a base 85 Model S. 5.5, 5.6 seconds.
Very quiet. And the cruise is just once down, tap? Yeah.
No, it's not on yet. You should see the numbers on. There it goes. It
I
just
got
came
you.
out.
I just saw it now.
So there's your cruise control,
yeah.
and then you can adjust your. Well, you're in kilometers.
Yeah, I know. You think we're not going 90
Well,
miles.
you know what? We better.
I know.
We better switch that back. There you go. That way you're legal.
Yeah.
You don't have to convert.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this very special edition of the Model 3 Owners Club show. We want to give you our closing thoughts about our experience with the Model 3. Now that we've had some time to spend a good day with this, both at nighttime and daytime, we've been able to crawl around, as you've seen Trevor crawling around and poking and prodding this car to death. We want to give you our thoughts of it. So, Trev, you go first.
Well, my personal takeaway from the car is Tesla spent a lot of time and energy on the small details of the car. I think it's very apparent. And the creature comforts, things like coat hooks, door pockets, finally, pockets behind the doors, little things that people expect in this class of car. Yeah, they've done a really good job, I think. The attention to detail certainly shows on the Model 3. What are your thoughts, Ken?
Well, I agree with everything you said, Trev. I mean, I come from this from just a standard basic transportation needs type of thought process. So I'm looking for a little upscale luxury. I'm all about electrification, so that's exciting for me. Certainly this car does it all. It has enough room for 4 adults comfortably, 5 in a pinch. It's got room for baby seats, all that kind of good stuff. It handles great. It's very nimble, very agile driving experience. It's got lots of power. I don't think you need ludicrous mode on this. It's plenty fast the way it is. The range is great on the long range version. All the operations, I was a little apprehensive about the screen, about full UI, not a lot of mechanical buttons and stuff to press as we're used to, but it was very easy. It took just a few minutes to pick things up, and driving it is comfortable. So overall, I'm extremely excited about the car and very pleased by what Tesla has produced, and excited.
I agree. So your thoughts, thumbs up?
Big thumbs up.
Big thumbs up on the car. Well, folks, we really hope that you really liked this episode as much as we enjoyed making it for you. So, Ken, how can people reach us?
Well, certainly email is the best way. We love getting your emails. So m3ocshow@gmail.com.
Yeah, don't forget, my Twitter handle is @Model3Owners.
@Kenneth Bocor for mine.
Yeah, don't forget to check out our forum at model3ownersclub.com. Registration's free, doesn't cost you anything.
And Facebook as well, Model 3 Owners Club. You can't miss it.
Yeah, and if you'd like to support the show, I'd really appreciate it if you take a look at our Patreon page, and you can find that at patreon.com/Model3Owners Club. And don't forget, we have lots of Model 3 apparel, and you can find that at our online shop at model3ownersclub.com/shop. So that's it for today's episode, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, folks.
Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.
See ya.
you.